obvious question. What did you, going back through the film from Saturday, when you looked at your man, how satisfied were you with it? What did you like about what you saw, and is that your defense going forward?
It's going to be a surprise. No, I think this, Bob. You know, as I had always said, we had. I mean, I was pleasantly surprised with how we guarded. Just in terms of you know, I think the reason I like our offense so much is because every day in practice, it has to go against that defense. You know, I think from the standpoint of making the switch, guys had energy. They had more energy than they've had playing the zone in certain instances, which we had tried to get that out of them. But with that said, you know, I thought rotation-wise, we had, you know, one major screw-up, and Sam said, I thought the four-man said it, that's on me. Shannon got confused one time, got pinned in for a three out of a timeout. But, you know, for the most part, I thought guys did a pretty good job positioning, pressuring the ball, and so was happy.
And I know you said after the game that you just decided to roll with the guys you had out there because they were doing so well. But I just wondered, the three that pretty much were left on the bench, or the four actually, if you count Amir, how much confidence do you have in them, their ability to play man?
I have a lot, to be honest with you. I think it was more, you know, it's funny, if you look back at the Illinois game over there last year, we had Mark got going, Amadeo got going, and we rode those guys all the way to the end because they had a great feel for what Illinois was trying to do, and to be honest with you, we were running the same play over and over last year, I guess, and we didn't do that here. But I had that comfort. We had a lead. Let's keep it. And so with that said, I was very pleased with that. But those other guys, to answer your question, I got off a tangent. You know, those guys can definitely play it too.
How comfortable are you taking your team right now into its first Big Ten road game?
Extremely, because I have no choice. No, you know, it's time. It's time, and you know, as I always tell our guys, this is what you sign up for when you come to the Ohio State. These are the type of games that you're going to play in. There's always going to be outside scenarios that people try to put together, but hey, our whole thing is we got to go in and play really, really good basketball. I don't care that we're 1-1 and they're 0-2, and 4 of our next 5 games are on the road. I just want to play well up there.
You brought up a good point. Last year, every time you guys went on the road, it was a tough battle, no matter where you were at. Do you, as a coach or as a staff, change as far as like the way you approach Big Ten road games now with what you learned last year and how last year went?
Yeah, you know, every year at the end of the season, you sit down and, you know, last year it was, why were we so bad at 12 noon games on the road? So we analyzed what we were doing, how we were doing it, you know, just there's so many pieces of the puzzle. I really can't even begin, you know, starting with how we watched film yesterday, how we practiced yesterday, to, you know, yeah, definitely take that into consideration. Yeah, yeah, can never figure it out.
You've said throughout this whole season that you need, you know, to get the production up from the bigs. With Amir sitting for so much of the second half, maybe what do you need from him going forward, especially in this game, to sort of, I don't know, get over the hump there? And what did you see that you liked out of Anthony and Trey with extended minutes in the second half? Well,
you know, for Amir, it was an odd game for him, just in terms of how things unfolded in terms of his fouls. But then I was elated with how Trey came in, and you know, the rebound put back, the block shot underneath out of bounds. You know, Anthony, I thought was tremendous in terms of just his energy on the defensive end, and you know, he had a great read, great block. So we kind of said, hey, let's ride those two. Both guys were making their free throws, and you know, it was nothing that Amir had done to say, hey, you're going to sit there. It was just more what the other guys did.
I think Shannon and D'Angelo had 10 turnovers. I know D'Angelo had the big problem in the first half.
5 of them, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously Minnesota is even better than you guys, forcing turnovers and forcing steals. What do those two guys especially have to be, or maybe whoever's on the court,
Right.
what do you have to be concerned about with their defense that's trying to get the ball away from them?
Well, I think you've got to have great poise and understanding. If they're going to commit 2 guys to the ball, that means that there's 3 guarding 4 guys, and the other 4 guys have to find the positioning to attack it. I think that shortening a pass, catching and moving it quickly, those are the things that you have to do. For D'Angelo and Shannon, I think just being strong with the basketball, but we've got to give them avenues to get the ball out of whatever they're in. The good thing, we trap every day in practice. We do all that stuff. So I hope that it's not anything that they haven't been going through for 74 practices.
Where are you with having a feel for this team? 12-3, you've been in the 3 losses, you're right there. Do you feel you have a gauge? You made the defensive switch last game. Do you feel like you have a gauge of what button to push with this team, or are you still trying to figure out?
I'll be figuring that one out in March, I think. But I think one of the biggest things with this team, and I've said this, I like this team. I want these guys to believe in themselves and each other, and believe in what we're doing. And from the standpoint, it's a fun group. I want them to enjoy playing basketball. I want them to enjoy the games. We work extremely hard. The reward is going out tomorrow night at 8 o'clock and playing a basketball game, and trying to get those guys to comprehend that is something that hopefully we're making strides in the right direction. I mean, they will go out there and compete for an hour and a half today, and saying, okay, now let's take it to Minneapolis and let's do it on their court.
In terms of Minnesota, I mean, you mentioned they're 0-2 in the league. There's nothing you can do about that, but I imagine coming home, how difficult do you suspect it's going to be from them? I mean, if you're in their shoes, obviously it's kind of a must-win for them.
No question about that. I think that's part of being in a conference. I think that, as I said, every game we play is going to have some sort of implication of, boy, they really need this game, and boy, Ohio State really needs this game. I just want our guys to understand, let's just play the game and play it the best we can. Take everything else from the outside and let's focus in on, and I thought we did that in terms of the Illinois game. I think that the focus was in the right place in terms of as I told our guys, I had a lot of confidence the way we were playing. I didn't know if we were going to win or lose the game, but I liked the way we were competing and playing, and I felt like there was consistency throughout.
Dad, maybe just jumping off Matt's question about where you guys are as a team, do you feel like your guys know what's expected of each of them, and have they embraced their roles? Because I know that's something you've talked about in the past being key.
Yeah. Well, where they are as a team is, like right now is in the locker room. And now I saw Greg Popovich do that one time, and I've been waiting to use that. Where are they as a team? They're in the locker room. Yeah. So, no, I think that I like where the team is. I think that we still have growth. I'm obviously an optimistic guy. I think that this team has shown throughout wins and losses that it can play at a very high level. I think that the term we've used is, why do we have to have our head held underwater to play really hard? And those are things that that's the area of improvement that I want. Talking of let's go to Minneapolis and take everything else. Let's just play 40 minutes of the best basketball that we can.
They have 4 guys averaging double figures. One isn't even a starter. Is there any way to combat that than by just having all 5 of your guys on the same page defensively? Yeah,
I mean, you have to. Obviously, they don't play a ton of guys. Historically, even when Tubby was there, and I think Richard did last year, they played a lot of guys, but they're not playing, so guys are getting more minutes, I think, in terms of scoring opportunities. But, you know, that's kind of the scary part. That's why I think they're a really good team, is because they do have a lot of different guys that can get it going at any part of a game. So that's where our defense has got to be at a high level.
You said last week you would have put your team's toughness at 5. I wondered if Saturday changed anything in your mind, and you think you're going to have to be tougher than you've been all season to win up there on 2.
Well, no question about that. I think that is, you know, what level are we at today? 6, 5.5. But no, you know, that goes without saying. I mean, just look at some of the plays that were made. 2 F1 fouls on Illinois in the game, and I don't define that as toughness, but you know, we took a couple pretty good shots and got up and kept playing, kept doing our job, and I think that's how it has to be.
Big picture on you here today, but I wanted to ask you about camaraderie, because, you know, Urban was out on the floor talking about how that was maybe the closest team he's ever been around, this Ohio State football team, and they're playing for all the marbles. I'm sure you may have heard that. You guys and your players have talked about the closeness that you have. I'm just wondering if you feel deep down, and it sounds like maybe you do, that is going to make this team dangerous when you get, I'm not asking you to make a bold prediction or say you're going to make the national championship game, but do you think there really could be that level of payoff when you have a team that's that, obviously you have to have talent.
Yeah.
The team is that sewn together.
Yeah, you know, I think the one thing that you definitely want to see is the togetherness when things aren't good. You know, I didn't think we were as tight as we needed to be in the Iowa game in terms of what we needed to do collectively to turn that game around. I thought Saturday against Illinois there were signs of that cohesiveness that every coach is striving for. You know, if we could keep them in a bubble and keep them from outside, we would definitely have what we're looking for. But you know, I think that you use a football team as an example. I mean, they lose to Virginia Tech and they went on a mission. That became obvious how they were playing, and they kept getting better and better and better and better. And you know, sometimes it takes that getting knocked down to do that. Where are we? I don't know for sure, but we'll find out tomorrow night.
Have you ever had a situation where things aren't going well? You want to
Yes.
say something in the timeout, in the huddle, but you think, let's see, since this team seems like they're together,
Yeah.
they might be able to work it. Let's see how they
Yeah.
talk this out. You ever just back away and let them
and
do
that's,
that?
That's when I know we're tuned in, when they're talking. You know, when they have that look of, please tell me, I don't know what to do, we're usually in trouble at that time. And so we talk about that. We practice that. You know, we want a voice going at all times, and it appears somebody's done here, but it appears that that's when we do play our best basketball.
You said right at the beginning that you had tried to get that energy out of them in the zone, and for some reason it didn't happen. Did you spend any time thinking about why the man brought it out in them?
You know, I haven't, just from the standpoint of
Why do you think it happened?
yeah, I think it was just a change. You know, everybody likes change, and you know, we got some consecutive stops. I mean, I think the only bucket they hit in the first half was the pull up over Mark at the free throw line, which was a pretty tough shot. So, yeah, hopefully we can continue it. Thanks, guys. Oh.
Not the most in-depth basketball question, just something I'm really curious about. How many times a season, on average, do you lose your voice?
You know, I don't know. You know, it hasn't been too bad. I've got a cold coming. Don't worry. I mean, my daughter had a coat sitting out saying, please, because I don't ever wear a coat. She said, please wear this. It's cold in Minnesota. But I don't know. Maybe I'm I've never worn a coat. I never do. But I don't know. I don't know how many times. Early on is when I lose the most. I don't talk to you guys at the very beginning of the season. You guys don't know it then. So, yeah. All right.